Now we are going to discuss about the fifth unit of our course, that is acoustics and ultrasonics. In acoustics is a separate and ultrasonic is the next topic. Now we are going to discuss about ultrasonic, after which we are going for acoustics. In the ultrasonic topic itself, for our syllabus includes all the topics, that is production of ultrasonic waves by magnetostriction and piezoelectric oscillator, then properties and detection of ultrasonic waves by thermal and Kunz tube method, after which we are determining the velocity of ultrasonic waves by acoustic grating method, and application it deals with the A, B and C scan. And actually why we are dealing with this, it has many real-time applications such as obtaining the first glimpse of the child in a mother womb, measuring the depth of the ocean, and many of the non-destructive testing of the mechanical parts it includes. That's why it is a highly important topic. And now basically you know what is a sound wave. Sound wave is a sound is classified on the basis of a frequency range. Here you know the audible sound wave is a frequency range between 20 to 20,000 hertz. Above 20,000 hertz the waves are said to be ultrasonic waves, that is not audible. It also has a frequency beyond that audible range, but it travels with the speed of sound. We know the speed of sound is of 330 meter per second, and wavelength is very small. If the wavelength is small, the energy is high. If wavelength is small, frequency is greater, and hence the energy of the waves is also greater. And now we are going to discuss the method of production of ultrasonic waves by magnetostriction oscillator. Magnetostriction oscillator works on the principle of magnetostriction effect. What is magnetostriction effect? Say for example any of the ferromagnetic material is taken in the form of a rod. Best example for ferromagnetic is it is of nickel, and it is placed longitudinally in a heavy magnetic field. It is placed between the strong pole pieces of a magnet, and it undergoes a contraction or expansion in its length, but it is a very minute. It is not visible to the eyes, but it undergoes a contraction or expansion in its length. That is what we call it as magnetostriction. Due to the application of magnetic field, it undergoes a mechanical change. Strictive means it undergoes a mechanical change. That's why it is called as magnetostrictive effect, magnetostriction. So a ferromagnetic, how it is defined means a ferromagnetic material which is placed between the strong pole pieces of a permanent magnet, it undergoes a change in mechanical changes will happen. That is change in length happens in that case. That is known as magnetostrictive effect. So production of ultrasonic waves, we are going to discuss about magnetostriction oscillator. The basic principle for the magnetostriction oscillator is a magnetostrictive effect. So this is a magnetostriction oscillator circuit, and with this we will explain the construction. Will explain it with the figure itself. Here we have a ferromagnetic rod. It is fixed between the two knife edges. It is clamped between the two knife edges so that it is fixed in that position. Here it is wound between the two coils. Say it is L1 and L2. Here L1 is a coil. It is connected to the variable capacitor through which it is connected to the battery. Here L2 is connected to the base of a transistor, and collector is connected to the resonance circuit through the milliammeter. Milliammeter reads the current flowing through the circuit here, and ferromagnetic rod is connected to the power supply here. Emitter is grounded. So it is a collect and tune circuit. Then you know the inductance and capacitance are connected together. It forms a tank circuit, or it is called as a resonance circuit. This we have already discussed in the higher secondary classes as well. You might have undergone this type of circuits in your higher secondary classes itself, I think. And the frequency of a tank circuit, everything we cannot discuss in detail, but we can use that expression for it. So we'll discuss the construction now. Here we have a ferromagnetic rod and a coil L1 is wound on one side of the ferromagnetic rod and is connected to the capacitor. It forms a resonance circuit. It is also called as tank circuit. And here through the milliammeter it is connected to the collector. So it is a collector tuned circuit, and one end of the coil L2 is connected to the base of a transistor. Emitter of a transistor is grounded. So this is the construction now. How it works: when a battery is switched on, the resonance circuit L1 C1 sets some alternating current with certain frequency. So the frequency of alternating current in tank circuit is 1 by 2 pi into square root of Ln into C1. We are not going to elaborate this equation, since you might have learned in the higher secondary classes itself when you are dealing with the LCR circuits. So frequency of a circuit consisting of inductance and capacitance is 1 by 2 pi into square root of L1 into C1. After which, if alternating current is set up, means that coil is wound on the nickel rod. So this sets an alternating magnetic field in the nickel rod. So due to the current in the induction coil L1, the magnetic field is induced in nickel rod. Then due to that magnetic field, again the current is induced in the coil L2. That current again it is fed to the base of a transistor. This acts as a feedback. Remind, the current is fed to this, and which enhances the oscillation in the tank circuit again. Then the increase in oscillation is indicated by a excess reading in a milliammeter. So this is a tank circuit, this is a feedback circuit which enhances oscillation, and so the feedback circuit, the feedback is a positive feedback, and it fed back, and then it increases oscillation, which is indicated by a increase in reading in a milliammeter. So due to which the oscillations will be set up in the nickel rod itself. So the frequency of tank circuit, some frequency we have for the nickel rod, and the frequency of a natural frequency of a rod is given by 1 by 2L into square root of E by rho, where L is the length of the rod, E is the Young's modulus of the rod, and rho is the density of the rod. So we can calculate the natural frequency of the rod here. So here is the frequency of a tank circuit. So the frequency of a tank circuit is adjusted by varying the capacitor. If you are varying the capacitor, means at one position the frequency of a tank circuit matches with the natural frequency of a rod. So if both the frequencies matching with each other, means we can say that is the condition for the resonance. So at the resonance, the frequency of a tank circuit matches with the frequency of a vibrating rod. At that position, contraction or expansion of the ferromagnetic rod takes place, and the ultrasonic waves will be set up and can be delivered on either side of the rod, which can be collected on either side of the rod. So this is the functioning of a magnetostriction oscillator. First, when the battery is switched on, tank circuit sets alternating current of frequency, after which current flowing through the coil L1 produces alternating magnetic field in the nickel rod, and the rod starts vibrating, and due to the vibration, contraction or expansion will happen, and during that time ultrasonic waves will be developed and is collected on either side of the nickel rod. Due to the magnetic field, again it produces EMF in coil L2, that is fed to the base of a transistor, and it increases. Due to that, it increases the oscillations in the tank circuit. The frequency of an oscillator is tuned with the natural frequency by adjusting the capacitor. Then condition for resonance is achieved. When the frequency matches with the frequency of a tank circuit, then condition for resonance is achieved. At that position, we will get the ultrasonic waves. Ultrasonic waves are collected. Then what are the advantages of the magnetostriction oscillator is, actually it is of mechanically rugged. There is no need of highest sophistication for this. It is of mechanically rugged. Roughly we can use it. Construction cost is also low. It produces oscillation power with good efficiency, but main disadvantage is it can produce a frequency up to 3 megahertz only, not more than that. And frequency of oscillation, it depends on temperature. Since we are applying a high frequency alternating current, frequently the rod gets heated up, so that we cannot get a single frequency, constant single frequency during the production. So the constantly it is of varying. We cannot get a single frequency. It's of varying frequency in a particular range we can get. That is a main drawback. In order to avoid these drawbacks, we are going for another method that is called as piezoelectric method. That we will discuss in the next lecture. Just watch this video, and if you have any clarification, we'll meet you in Zoom class and then we'll take it. Thank you.